I'm going to be talking about how to collect decals and in a future video to actually apply them to your car. There are many different ways to actually collect decals. I'll show you how to organize them. I'll even show you how to add them to the game. I don't really have a way to show you my computer screen, but I can send you the links in the description. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, it's going into replay mode for a random race. Sorry about this. Let me exit out of it. Alright, so if you go to the livery editor and you go to start a design, which was covered in the last video, and you go to apply your decals and add a layer, you're going to see that you have all these different options. There are some sponsors that are included by default in your livery collection. There are a lot of selections here, but you'll notice that none of these are actually paintable, which is unfortunate if you're trying to replicate certain designs or if the sponsor's color clashes with your design. So you might want to collect some actual custom versions of those decals, and I'll show you shortly how to do that. These three are all real sponsors that the game has licensed that you can use on your car, and all of these are actually fictional logos over here, the ones in the circle. And these are kind of interesting too, because despite the fact that these are all fictional, they actually did quite a good job to make them look good. So if you want to use some of them, that might be something you want to try doing. I'm not sure what the distinction is for media logo, because I think some of these are not real and others are. I'll have to look into that, but I never end up using any of these. Some of them are really cool looking though, so you might want to try them. These are actually awarded to you every time you reach a level in the game. So I've reached all the way, I forget which direction, I think Sapphire is the highest, so you earn these as you participate in the game, and you can put them on your car if you feel like you want to sport that as a matter of pride. Circuit experience decals you can actually earn from doing circuit experience. Unfortunately, it won't give you a circuit experience decal for getting gold and everything, but it will give you for getting silver and bronze. And then in the purchased items location, that's something that you're going to get in the mileage exchange. I will talk about the mileage exchange a little bit today as well, because it does matter here. If you go to the font, this is the default font for the game. Unfortunately, when this is put on the car and you race on the track, they can look quite pixelated around the corners, so I don't recommend using these. I would rather use the graphics that you can actually get applied into the game custom. And there are some crazy patterns that you can use. I don't use too many of these because I like to make my own patterns from scratch, and you can get those same patterns with a gradient, which you might want to apply on top of the original design and make a gradient between two different colors. And then you get your generic shapes as well, which I find to be a lot more useful, along with gradient versions of them. So the personal decals is where you're actually going to upload your decals, and they'll show up here. As you can see, I have a lot of team decals, and I have a lot of sponsored decals, and my league that I organize, and some custom that I've made, some ones that I've brought over from other games, and some old teams that I used to be part of. You can make these from scratch, or if you get an SVG from another creator and they want you to upload it in the game, you can do it, and it'll show up here. So that's going to be your library. But there is also a collection area where you can collect decals. So here are all the decals that you have collected over time, and the interesting thing is if you try to find decals on the game, it can be quite frustrating. There are 3 ways that I've seen to actually go collect decals. So the first way is to do it in the game. If you exit out of here, what's interesting about this is you actually don't do this in a livery editor. You do this in the Discover page, and you go to your decals down here instead of Escape Photos. You can search for anything on the community here, but we'll focus on decals here. Here's where you're going to find trending decals, latest, cool selections, trending, most popular search, etc. And you're going to want to go to search up here, and you can search for tags. Unfortunately, the disadvantage to this system is whoever uploaded the decal will have to make sure that it has a tag on it that's searchable that might be obvious. You're not going to be searching by title, so that's unfortunate. And you can actually search by different types, but I noticed that people don't actually classify their decals. They just leave it blank, or shapes or something. So you'll find all sorts of things in shapes and barely anything in the other categories. So that's one way to do it. Let's say, let me demonstrate. I want to look up Red Bull, which seems to be the most popular thing on the game. At least it used to be. Let's go on here. If you search, you find recently posted, and some people have already put in the time to make really good decals, and then other decals aren't quite good. I'll actually show you how to distinguish between good and bad decals, at least when it comes to image quality. So we'll go back. That's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it, and I'll post a link in the description after I'm done with the stream, is to go to the Gran Turismo website on your PC. You will have to log in with your PSN account when you do that, but once you do, it will remember you, and then you can do the same thing that you did from the comfort of your computer, which is useful if you're working on a livery at that point and you don't want to exit out of the livery, go find the decal, and then come back in. You can do it on your PC. I don't know if you can do it on your phone. I think theoretically you could, but it might be inconvenient to do it that way because it'll probably just show you the PC webpage, which you can only see portions of it on your phone screen. There is a third option, which I think is the best. There is a GT Sport sim racing community from Japan that made a website that sort of plugs into the database of the GT Sport community, or the collection here on the game, and it allows you to actually search by title. It allows you to search by date. It allows you to search by a lot of different things. In fact, it can help you search for replays and all sorts of other things. So I'll put a link in the description of that as well after the stream is over. So once you've collected the decals that you want, like I said, they're going to show up in, you can actually get to your decal collection from Liveries. So I'll go in there. They will show up in your collection. So you can find them here. And when you download them from the website, it's going to tell you the day and the month that it was uploaded, but it's not going to tell you the year for some reason. So that can actually be a little frustrating. So let's say that you got something from 3/2. Well, guess what? Now you have to look through every year, and if you have a lot of different decals in your collection, like I do, you're going to have to scroll through every year manually like this, and there's no way to actually search through your decals. But there is another option that you can do. Once you've found your decal in your selection that your collection that you actually want to use on a more routine basis, let's say I want to use, I don't know, this McGuire's logo more often, and not have to scroll all the way down here. You can actually add it to your favorites, and you can make different favorites folders. I'm not very good at organizing things, so my whole purpose of doing so is just to randomly name it and then put things in there for convenience. But if you want to actually organize it responsibly, you can do it this way, or you can create a new folder. I think you can have up to 10. So then you just put it in there. Let's say I put it in SFR. Now it's going to be put in there. You go to your favorites, so you go to your SFR folder. This is what your folders look like. You go in there, you scroll all the way down to the bottom because it's going to do the list. As you can see, it will show duplicates if you accidentally put it in there twice, and it will show it in the order in which you added it to this folder rather than the order that it was uploaded to the game. And you'll find it down here. You got your Maguires. I'm sorry, Maguires. I always say that incorrectly, but that's where it is, and you can use it. So I'm going to take a quick break from this subject, and I'm going to look at the stream because it appears that I have a few comments. Let's see here. I upload all my decals through my phone, and also visit the Discover tab so I don't have to exit the editor. Yep, exactly. I didn't know that you could do it through the phone conveniently, so that's cool to know. So everyone who's watching this, we got a confirmation that you can do it through the phone, but I don't recommend it. If you have a laptop or a PC, it's just easier to see what you're doing and you can do it that way. But again, you will have to log in on the GT website, but you do it one time. It might log you out like once every 3 months for whatever reason. But it's convenient once you make that work. So the next topic I'm going to talk about is uploading decals to the game. I'm not actually able to give you a video example of what that is, so I'm going to describe it to you verbally while I'm working on a livery, so you get to see a preview of how to actually put decals on a car. So the way that it works is you need to have an SVG file type. It can't be a PNG, it can't be a bitmap, it can't be a JPEG. It has to be specifically an SVG. And the reason why is it has to be an image type that is essentially a list of code that describes where to draw points. And that means that you get a decal that doesn't lose its quality no matter how much you increase the size of the actual decal, because it's essentially just telling the screen where to draw between 2 points rather than drawing each one of the pixels specifically. That's why they request that you use an SVG. In fact, they require it. The only problem that is a little frustrating with this game, and I think I understand why, because if they allowed you to upload anything larger, it would probably lag the lobbies considerably, is that you have to make an SVG that is less than 15 kilobytes. I do have a couple of resources that I can also put in the description. One's called SVG OMG. Actually, that's the only resource that I can think of currently that would be of use for you. It reduces the size of the SVG that you've uploaded to it, and then you can save it from there. There are different things that you can turn off in there. You might want to experiment with it because some of the terms are quite jargon to graphics editing that I don't necessarily know about, but I do know that if you reduce it too far, it does have a negative impact on the decal when you upload it into the game. So if you can get it right below 15 kilobytes on SVG-OMG, then you're good. A good software to use to make SVGs is called Inkscape. I've always had a lot of success using it. You might want to sketch your decal that you want to use in Inkscape, or you can sketch it as a graphics design and then upload it into Inkscape and have it draw the decal for you. There's a lot of resources online on how to use Inkscape because it's pretty open source sort of software, and I will upload a link in the description. So now you've already worked on your decal. You've created it in Inkscape, or you've modified it in Inkscape, and you've uploaded it to SVG-OMG if you have to, and you've reduced it to 15 kilobytes, right? Now you're ready to move on to actually adding it to the game. If you go to the PC version, or potentially if you worked on it on your phone or have the file on your phone, you could go to the website on your phone, and in the in fact, let me bring it up on my side so I can better describe it for you. You bring up the community, which is at the top, and then go to the decal uploader. There is a white bar at the top. You click here, and then it'll search your PC for the decal that you actually want to upload, and then it'll give you a warning if it's over 15 kilobytes, and it'll tell you whether or not it's successful in the game. Okay, now you've added it to your collection. You can see it online. It's in your collection. Okay, where do you find it? As I said before, you're going to find it in your personal decals, and you'll see them all here. And you grab onto it and you add it in, and depending on the quality of the decal that you have will depend on how it looks in the game. So there you go, now it's added. So those are the two ways that you can get custom decals in the game, other than the ones that are given by default. You can upload it to your game by making the decal, and I'll provide all the resources for that. Or you can go to the Gran Turismo website, either through the special search thing that I'm going to include from the Japanese community, or you can just go on the website itself and use the function that's on there, add it to your collection, and then now that it's in your collection, you can use it. So now there are those decals that you can get that are purchasable on the mileage exchange, and as you can see, all of them are related to safety decals for the car that are definitely something that you want to have for the means of making your car more realistic. So I will have a section that talks about actually how to make your car more realistic, but let me show where you can find these. So yesterday I, in part 1, talked about custom rims as well and custom paints. You can find those things as well in the mileage exchange. So the hot items up here, I'm not sure exactly how they determine if an item is popular, but they probably have data on their side. You can find the most popular stuff up here. Here's where you're going to find all your rims. I pretty much have all of the rims except for all the color variants. Since I color my rims myself anyways, I don't see the point of having all of them. You can get your custom helmets here if you're going to make your own helmet anyways. It doesn't matter too much. And you can get your custom decals. It doesn't show all of them that are available in the game, so it'll just show you what's available for that week, I believe. And it'll show you a tow hook arrow, it'll show you an emergency switch decal, and it'll show you a kill switch decal, and there are different types of those. And then it'll give you poses for your guy when you view your own profile, and then all the custom paints that are available for that week are down here too. You'll notice that again it's not showing all of them, and that can be quite frustrating because there might be a particular kind of paint that you're looking for. It's not available for that week, and PD never lets you know when something's going to come out. So always come by here, check to see what's available. If you don't have it, grab it. Alright, so I think that covers everything concerning collecting decals. Tomorrow I might go into more detail about the way to properly apply decals to your car. I'll show you how to look for contours on the car. I'll show you how the different backgrounds can help you search for those kind of things. And be sure to check the description for everything that will come of use for you when you go to make a livery. So I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.